Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 103 of A Wild Podcast Has Appeared, the official Pokemon podcast of Comicbook.com. I am one of your hosts, Jim Viscardi, and as always, joined by Megan Peters and Christian Hoffer. Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
Wow, that was the most excited that Hoffer has ever sounded.
Coming from Christian Hoffer. That's what we need here. If you are new here, congratulations, you just found your new favorite Pokemon podcast. We talk about everything Pokemon related, the anime, the games, the stuff, you name it. If it's got a big honking Pokemon logo on it,
or even a small Pokemon logo on. You know,
yeah.
we do not discriminate based on logo size.
Yeah, that fair. That is fair. You can listen to us live every Monday, 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. across the pond. Ton of new listeners in the Twitch chat today, which I 100% appreciate. Lady Valor 7711, GG Phoenix, and as always, we always have our good friends Calder, Rankin, and a number of others. I think our good friend Huckleberry Flynn, I think, is watching on YouTube right now, which just I'm gonna give him the shout out. I want him to know we see him. So anyway. We have a lot of fun Pokemon stuff to talk about today, so we're just going to jump right into it. We got Pokemon Go news, we got Pokemon Snap stuff to talk about, and some fun anime news, so I'm excited. In the world of Pokemon stuff, apparently, we are getting a fossil exhibit.
Well, we is using that.
Right.
You're using
we
that
as in the global public
the
getting
fandom
global public. It's the Japanese public.
That's what I mean. Look,
yeah, the fandom's getting it, but we will inevitably get pictures and TikToks and tweets. I mean, come on, it happens. We don't.
It
get
is
to
the
see
royal
it in
we.
You know,
we don't get to see it in person, but still.
Yeah, so there's this pretty cool fossil exhibit that it's a touring fossil exhibit that will be opening in Japan. Basically, they are using the concept of fossil Pokemon to basically teach kids about paleontology. It's actually one of the real world / Pokemon tie-ins that really makes sense. I think it's
but is it like the good fossil stuff or like the abominations we just got in Sword and Shield?
So the at least the promo picture made no reference to the abominations. I will state, you know, like when I was doing my research about it, because you know those Pokemon are basically the Pokemon Company's way of giving the thumb to poor paleontologists, or thumbing their nose. Excuse me, giving the thumb. It's a Monday. But anyways, so you know, basically, I'm pretty sure that they are teaching about good paleontology, which means those terrifying things will not be referenced at all. So thank goodness. Yes, the Crystal Palace dinosaurs hopefully won't even get a shout out there. But you know, one of the cool things is they will have an apparently full scale model of a Tyrantrum skeleton, which you know that should be an 8-footer, which is pretty cool.
First Japan gets Mewtwo in a tube basically that talks to you, and now they get a giant Pokemon dinosaur fossil.
Yeah, they get all the cool
multiple.
Stuff.
That's unfair.
We've discussed this so many times. They get all the cool stuff. It's just how it goes.
I am curious. So I think it was back in either 2018 or 2019. I think it was 2019 because it was when they did the World Pokemon Championships in DC, I think. They did a bunch of fossil Pokemon, like kind of as like a backdrop to like the main stage. It was kind of like they had all these like fossil Pokemon skeletons, and I'm kind of curious if that they basically used those and brought them over for this exhibit. I think this is a really cool idea. It's really neat. Like I said, I wish we had stuff like this in the United States. I think with how much Pokemon has blown up in the last couple of years, I think it would be a good idea.
We just talked about it in a recent episode, right? Like, do destination Pokemon Center exhibits. Find some, we know, obviously the main draw would be the biggest cities to put them in, but find like a second, a B level city, where it's probably cheaper to build something like this and make it a tourist attraction.
So I think
easy peasy.
I think for stuff like this, the interest is there for like a children's museum. There's children's museums all over the place. Like, like I know Nashville's got a great children's museum that, I'm sure would pick something up like this. Columbus has one. Literally every major city has a pretty decent.
Or make it one of those touring exhibits, right?
Yeah,
like I know you can't do it now.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't need to be a permanent thing. I mean, the cost of maintenance upkeep, that's something the Pokemon company's just not going to go for. That's like a whole logistical branch that it would have to kind of create and dedicate. But I could definitely see it doing a touring exhibit. I mean, if they've already, if it does use those figures that were used at the DC World Championships, then I mean, they understand logistics of shipping. They're already going to know how to do the touring in Japan. I feel like that would be a really great kind of test, because there's like this weird dinosaur exhibit that in Tennessee would always come to the Nashville Fairgrounds every year. And I was like the
giant weird live dinosaur things.
Yeah. These like weird animatronic dinosaurs. And like, they're not good quality. They're not fun. But like for a kid, you really don't care. Like, you're just like, oh my God, it's huge. But like, if you're the parent or the chaperone or babysitter, you're kind of just like, all right, this is lame. But if it was a Pokemon dinosaurs, then it's the best of both.
Then it's the best.
So I mean, come on, if you're gonna do it, you might as well be the very best. So
love it. All right, so Japan gets all the fun, we don't. Womp womp. All right, Pokemon Go news. A Pokemon Snap event is launching this week.
Yep, on Thursday. And it runs through the weekend.
Take pictures of your Pokemon.
Yep. Shiny Smeargle. Shiny Smeargle is the featured Pokemon. Excuse me. There will be different Pokemon that are appearing in new Pokemon Snap that will be appearing more often in raids and in the wild. So, pretty curious to see how this event like stacks up with actual new Pokemon Snap. It should be interesting. I'm curious to see which Pokemon from new Pokemon Snap make it into the game, and that's all I will say about that. I'm not allowed to say any more.
Remember when they really tried to make Smeargle like a thing? Like, remember, like there was a time where it felt like they really were pushing Smeargle pretty hard.
Well, it was just because, when you withhold something from the populace for so long, it becomes a thing. Kind of like Kecleon. Like, everyone wants Kecleon, and Kecleon will be an absolutely useless Pokemon, but people want that hole in their Pokedex filled. And yes, Shiny Smeargle, for the record, Shiny Smeargle is going to be shiny locked to this event. So, as an FYI. Yeah, so if you don't get Shiny Smeargle, you'll have to wait until the next time they make it available. This won't be like every other Smeargle, every other shiny Pokemon in Pokemon Go, where once they're in rotation, they come back. There's only a few exceptions to this, and apparently Shiny Smeargle is one. I have no idea why.
I mean, why not? Honestly, why not?
Exactly.
Makes literally no sense.
Like I said, there was a time where it felt like they were trying to make Smeargle like one of the official mascots of the brand. But
I mean, why?
There was a period like in the late 90s, early 2000s where I would see a bunch of promo stuff with Smeargle for anime, and I remember there was some promo stuff on some of the booster sets at the time that had Smeargle painting on it. I remember there were stickers on that because at the time I was like, oh, that's so cool. I like this Pokemon. So I caught it a couple times, and then I fundamentally realized even at my young age that it was pointless. So, but anyways, there was a time it kind of felt like that.
Yeah. All right. After a brief hiatus, I guess, Team Rocket's coming back.
Yeah,
Pokemon Go.
Team Rocket has returned after about 20 some days missing from the game with no real explanation as to why. they gave us 30 Pokeballs and a Team Rocket radar as compensation for the fact that no one could progress any of their Team Rocket goals or research. It was, the whole thing is just weird. Just the entire, I don't understand it. Because like when they're like, yeah, Team Rocket encounters crash, crashed the game. I saw like all the chat, kind of surrounding it, and there was a lot of, maybe that happened to me once, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But apparently, it was. I think they're kind of like making them disappear for 20 days with like really no communication, and then eventually bringing it back. Only, that's the only reason this is a story at all.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they just missed out on like the best opportunity to have like the thing that was like, oh, sorry, Team Rocket accidentally blasted off again. Take something. Like they could have done something, just like a little note. They didn't have to like say specifically anything or like use like, I guess, like the kind of jargon that you would expect from like a press statement or something. They could have just done like a little fun little end thing and like, whoops, sorry. And then they also could have given something more than those Pokeballs, because I mean, everybody has them. If you play Pokemon Go regularly enough to be upset about Team Rocket missing for that long, you don't have an issue with not having enough Pokeballs. We could have used something else.
So mad about the what they wanted to, like, what they gave away, and it was cracking me up. Like people were just like like people were really mad. Like, this is all we're getting, 30 Pokeballs and Super Rocket Radar.
But you also, they didn't have to give you anything. They could have just they could have just been like, honestly, you might not even notice. At least they did something. So I mean, there is at least that we can. I would
have preferred remote raid battle passes. But
well, yeah, that's everybody.
They need, speaking of those, they need to up the limit of what you can carry from 3, because that is ridiculous that you can only carry 3 at a time.
Yes, I agree with that.
Like what is up with that?
I think it's dumb. There's just no, you
can literally carry 1 million of everything else. But remote raid battle passes, 3. That's it.
It's a way to keep people, because they give them away at a pretty decent click, and I think they just don't want people to stockpile.
That's why I want more.
I agree with you. I'm right there with you. Like I said, there are.
Well, that's the thing, but they're so easy to burn through, right? Like one
because
good
they want you to buy them.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure, but like even if everyone stocks up with them. Like it stocks up on them, like you're still gonna burn through those pretty regularly. That like because what'll happen is you'll use them more, and then like a big raid event will happen, and you'll be like, oh crap, I used all of my I used all my raid passes. I guess I'm gonna have to buy some, and then boom, buy some.
And this is how Pokemon Go makes record-breaking revenue every single year. This is how they get those billion-dollar figures, is they know they don't want you to stockpile, because then they'll know you'll burn through it, and then they're going to get you comfortable. Then they're going to do an event, and you're going to spend some big bucks on those raid passes. So, I mean, it's ingenious. It's evil, but that's, I guess, microtransactions in a nutshell.
All right, well, that's about all we've got for Pokemon Go news. Do we know what the Spotlight Hour Pokemon is this week?
I mean, we do. Give me a second. Let me go back and look it up. Spotlight Hour is Finneon this week, which I am guessing is related to new Pokemon Snap. For reasons I'm not allowed to talk about.
All right. So for everyone listening or watching or whatever, Christian has played Pokemon Snap. Are we allowed to even say that?
I don't know if I certainly didn't say that.
I mean, you've already said it, and we're live.
It's coming out. It's coming out this week. It's coming out this week, so we have to be careful on what we say and can't say. So, if anyone's like, why are they being all weird this week? It's because of things. So.
Yeah. it's a shame that we don't do this one on Wednesday, because then I could
Right.
talk a lot more about
So next
things.
Monday you will hear all of our stuff. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll do something special coming up. Who knows? We'll see. But anyway, that's that. We're gonna take a quick 60-second break really quick to pay for the show, and then we'll talk about Pokemon Snap like we just said we couldn't. So let's have fun. Okay, so one of the things that we are going to do, like we like to do on this show, is help manage expectations. And so, in doing so, I think one of the things that that we want to talk about is, with Pokemon Snap coming out, obviously that original game took the world by storm. Like, it was at the time, not the biggest game. Looking back on it and what its impact on Pokemon fandom as a whole for a certain generation, massive. And so the question is one, can the new game do the same thing, or and what would make it a disappointment? And so, Megan, let's start with you. Let's talk about what would make a new Pokemon Snap a success.
I mean, I think for me, the thing that would make Pokemon Snap a success is obviously kind of having more expansive options. When it comes to the kind of Pokemon, you could photograph the number of places that you can visit. I mean, just kind of something just a little bit bigger. I think for me, the thing that I'm still, itching to do is there to kind of be the thing that I remember the most from Pokemon Snap is being able to print off pictures. So, I mean, earlier last week, we learned that Instax is putting out a printer for Pokemon Snap that you'll be able to buy, which I will be buying. I already have the printer in question. It's basically Instax is releasing with Fujifilm and Nintendo is a Pokemon printer that. Yeah, so it's got like a Pikachu thing, and you can connect basically your pictures that you take in Pokemon Snap to your phone, and then you can print the images, at home with film that you buy. This is the Fujifilm link, I believe, or Instax link, which I already have the original version, so I'm going to be getting that Pikachu case. So I'm really excited for that because that was a big thing for me, and I just think kind of just the relaxation bit of it, like before I played Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley or anything like that. Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Puzzle League, I guess, were my relaxation games. They were just really chill. I wasn't super stressed out, just taking pictures basically. So if it has that same kind of feel, just bigger and more expansive, I think it's a success. And I think if it doesn't kind of capitalize on the nuance of Pokemon and having more intricate Pokemon behavior present itself and just kind of natural habitats, if it's missing that in the game, I think it'll be more of a disappointment. I definitely want to see kind of the interactions between wild Pokemon that they're going to show in this game. I mean, we've seen poor Magikarp getting eaten in multiple ways. I want to see other chains of command. I mean, I just want to see how that habitat works out.
Megan, does the printer print on sticker paper, or is it just
so you can
photo
get
paper?
You can get Fujifilm sticker prints You have to buy that specific film though.
Okay.
So it's basically a Polaroid camera, and so you can just use traditional Polaroid film. You can use, there's fancier kinds that you can buy online of some which are sticker backgrounds, but traditional works either way. So I don't have sticker backgrounds. I have a ton of Fujifilm for my wedding that's coming up this year because we're going to take pictures. And so also now I can just sneak in some of my Pokemon Snap photos if I really just need some decoration filler. Just
there you go.
So,
I think one of the things too, also we have a pretty wide range of age groups that listen to this show, and so I want to just very quickly go back in time for a second and talk about Pokemon, the original Pokemon Snap, and the feature that Megan was just talking about, how that kind of came about. So way back when there were blockbusters, and I assume everyone knows what a blockbuster is. You could go and rent videos from it, and video games and whatever.
Video
the Pokemon
rental.
Company,
what is
video rentals? Yeah, I know. And basically, the Pokemon Company partnered with, or Nintendo partnered with, Blockbusters to put, kiosks basically in each of the stores that you could bring your game to and print out stickers of the photos that you took. And they were on binders and Trapper Keepers for a whole generation of kids. And so that's that aspect of it. I think a lot of people remember fondly, so much so that I just want to go buy one of those printers and glue it to the door of the abandoned Blockbuster in my hometown and just go to Blockbuster to print my photos, basically. But I think it's so that to see that printer thing come is interesting. I wonder if there is going to be a bigger partnership there. Like I said, we've talked about it before, your Targets, your CVS's or whatever. There's got to be some way to I don't know, get a big partner on board. But anyway, if they don't, then whatever. Then you buy the printer and go nuts.
Yeah, I kind of got a feeling that it's going to be the printer. I honestly think that the main issue why we're not going to see a U.S. partner for this, and a partner basically outside of Japan, is it's COVID. I think that there's still a lot of hesitancy around having in-person getting people back into stores. They do not want a situation in which COVID, their COVID protocols, which vary from state to state and even city to city, range wildly. And so I think we are probably not going to get that. I do not think it is a matter of people not being interested in it. I think it is a safety issue.
I mean, Pokemon would hate nothing more than all of a sudden there to be headlines that saying, such and such number of kids get infected by COVID doing a Pokemon, printing pictures. The printer is an easy way, even though it is more of a buy-in. And also, I mean, Japan, I'd be surprised if Japan does this. I mean, many of the metropolitan cities, Tokyo, Osaka, they just went into another emergency lockdown because the rates are going up so high and their vaccination program just isn't coming in as quickly as they thought. So I think the printers is going to kind of be where it is. And maybe in 2 years, if there's a lot of love for Pokemon, maybe they'll do a little mini thing, or maybe if there's another US Worlds or something like that, they'll have a printer there. That would be pretty sweet. So we'll see.
Nice. I think for me, one of the things I'm looking forward to in this game is at its core, or not at its core, but a big part of the original Pokemon Snap. And I don't know if I'm misremembering this, but it kind of was a puzzle game.
Yeah.
Right. And there were things outside of just seeing the ones that were just out in the wild. There were things you needed to do to get the perfect shot, to make certain Pokemon appear and all that. And so I'm kind of curious to see what I don't want to say grown up version of that, because obviously this is a game intended for all ages, but I just mean you can only do so much with the game mechanics in the N64 version. So to see what you can do here is one of the things I'm kind of looking forward to. Also, too, I'm kind of curious to see just how many, if many at all, legendaries they include. 'Cause I think because that's one of the things that at the end of the first game, all we had at the time was Mew, and that was I remember those credits just spamming photos, trying to get every good shot I could of that thing. But yeah, no. So I think on the flip side too, because I know. Well, unless Christian, you want to chime in here, I don't know if you feel that may be telling or not. So
well, I can't. I obviously can't talk about specifics.
Sure.
I think that in terms, I can answer because some of the stuff is publicly known. Obviously, there are legendary mythical Pokemon in this game. I'm not going to talk about how many. I don't know how many. I will say that I have played a significant amount of the game. Like in terms of time, like basically it is all I have done over the last week and a half with my free time. And I still have not gotten everything. Like I can say that much. That doesn't break anything at all. So this is a much bigger game than Pokemon Snap. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's good.
I don't think it's that shouldn't break anything. Just to say, I mean, from what is publicly available, just the what courses have been shown in various commercials, there are more courses that we've seen than we've seen in the original Pokemon Snap. So that much is known. I think that I'm not allowed to give any impressions or anything like that. But, from what we've seen publicly, answering your question about will there be puzzles to unlock different Pokemon and stuff like that, I mean, I can say that from the preview. Yes, there are. There are certain things that you have to do to find certain Pokemon. I mean, we saw that in the publicly available previews.
Yep.
So for me, what I think will make or break this game are two things. One is their online functions. How much people make use of that. And the other thing is quite frankly, I will be very disappointed, and I'm already setting myself up for disappointment here. I will be very disappointed if this is a one-off game. If this is all the new Pokemon Snap we get. I think this franchise, I understand why the original franchise didn't go anywhere. For one thing, Pokemon Snap was never meant to be a Pokemon game. It was originally designed as an entirely separate franchise, and they made the decision to turn it into a Pokemon game relatively late in the process. And so I understand why it didn't become a thing. However, the Pokemon company loves Pokemon Snap. We've Game Freak, the various heads of Game Freak have always talked about. We would love if Nintendo made a new Pokemon Snap, because they Game Freak doesn't make this game. The original one was made by HAL Laboratories. The new one is made by Bandai Namco. Ultimately, it's Nintendo that licenses and decides whether or not these ones come out. So I think that one was that's one thing is I think there should be more new Pokemon Snap. Now, I don't know if that means, DLC after the fact. I don't know if that means an entirely new game. And I think there's a lot more room for that sort of stuff. That's what I'm going to say. That's
I think for me, a sense of disappointment I will probably get, or it will be disappointing for me is, are like kind of what you said, the extent of the community features, because I feel like that's really going to be one of the biggest thing. And look, we know Nintendo is not great with its online capabilities and whatever, and so that's the thing that kind of has me a bit concerned, because this is a game that feels like it is, I'm almost shocked that it wasn't a mobile game, right? Like, I understand why it's not a mobile game, but the inherent community features of what you would want to do with a game like this, has me, just kind of waiting to see. Just kind of a wait and see. Will I still enjoy it? Yeah, absolutely, probably. I'm excited to play it with my kid, who I think will definitely get a kick out of this. She likes the mainline Pokemon games just fine, but she loves Pokemon, and I feel like this is way more up her alley as far as games that she would want to play. And so I'm all for that. And so so I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, let's get to the next topic before we close out this show. Some old friends are coming back to the anime, and I can't wait.
I mean, the anime just dropped like the biggest of surprises within the last couple days. So basically in Japan, they tend to kind of preview arcs at the last minute for what the next story arc for the show will be. So Pokemon Journeys kind of out of nowhere just put out this like fairly like a minute and a half kind of trailer teasing what the next episodes of Pokemon Journeys are going to be. So first of all, we were correct. They are about to kind of dive into DLC. So we're going to get a little bit of like Crown Tundra ideas of looking for legendaries. We kind of got some scenery of that. Gary Oak showed up out of nowhere. So he's back. It has been a long time. It's been like Black and White or something. He's shown up in some like fantasy hallucination dream sequences, but he's not shown up actually in person. He's been out kind of doing his professor internship. And as we saw in the trailer, Ash is about to be reunited with a lot of his old Pokemon, which fans have been, asking for so long. So we're going to see obviously Charizard because they're going to have to do Charizard. Bailey is coming.
Charizard come back.
Yeah, Grumpy Charizard. Bailey is going to be there. Noivern's going to be there. It seems like Ash is going to have some battles with Infernape, which is great. For anybody, before you ask, Greninja was not shown. So Greninja is still off doing his own little thing. But we do know that we're going to be seeing Iris soon. So we're getting some more callbacks to that kind of timeline and region area. So yeah, we were right about a lot of our predictions. This is very bold for the Pokemon anime. Hasn't done this in a while.
Can I ask a slightly morbid question?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not going to stop you.
Ash's Butterfree is pretty probably dead, right?
It's
butterfly lifespans and whatnot being what they are.
I mean, we don't know the lifespan of the Butterfrees in Pokemon. It just keeps stealing health from anybody that shows up.
It's been like 1 year. He's 11 years old.
Yeah, he's never
Caterpie when he's 10. So it's been like 1 year. No, he's not dead.
Yeah, that timeline time does not flow in terms of past in Pokemon. There is no time flowing. So Butterfree is still living Butterfree's best life with all of his Butterfree friends. And maybe at some point Butterfree shows up.
We saw Ash's Butterfree. He was in the opening sequence. I think it was back in Diamond and Pearl, I believe. Him and the pink Butterfree were like seen. They kind of like did that during the opening sequence of that. We knew the Gary. We've known for a while that Gary was coming back. That wasn't the big surprise, but. I was very happy that because I was really disappointed in Sun and Moon. Like, don't get me wrong, it was great that we got to see like Bulbasaur and Muck and Squirtle, and we got to see a few cameo appearances by a bunch of Ash's old Pokemon. But it was kind of disappointing that we didn't get to see Ash actually spend time with his old Pokemon. And, when I saw the preview image of Ash surrounded by a lot of his old Pokemon, that was like, oh, this is awesome. And then when it's like, no, he's bringing Infernape along. And I was like, I think that's great. That's the most they've, because Infernape, is one of his, his best Pokemon. That was established back in Diamond and Pearl because, Diamond and Pearl, which before before the XY and Sun and Moon stuff, Diamond and Pearl was where he made his, deepest run in a Pokemon League. And that was one of his, that was one of his powerhouses. And, it was that, and, it was Infernape, it was Sceptile, those, and Crocodile was another one. I was thrilled that we've got to see, all those Pokemon. And not only that, this definitely opens the door for, maybe, because here's the thing that, kind of one of the things that bugged me about this entire Pokemon Journeys to date is, Ash is slowly making the climb to, in the champions, I forget what they call it in the English dub, but he's slowly making the climb, but he's not going to get there. He's not making the progress that he needs. If he tapped into his very deep roster of Pokemon, he 100% can make it. And I think that this not only sets up for Ash. It's not only a cool nod for fans, it also it brings a practical effect of like how are we going to get to the point where Ash is going to battle Leon? I mean, we know that Ash is probably not going to beat Leon, which is dumb, but we should at least be able to watch that.
I don't know. You say that, but I mean, hey, Ash took the championship home in Alola. And I mean, I think it's good to know that this is coming forward. In Japan, at least, Iris is coming up in one of the next episodes, and she will be kind of fighting him for placement in that kind of championship league in Galar region for those points. So that's going to get that started.
Iris.
Yeah,
I mean, but that's the thing too, right? I mean, it would be weird that if Ash like were to beat Leon, that he would have to assemble basically his super team to do so, but like for Leon of all people. But
that's one of the things is like, Leon and his unbeatable Charizard. Like I feel like this is like getting set up to be like some sort of dumb Tobias situation, like in Diamond and Pearl, where it's like, they've given, they've gotten to the point that Ash is like in that, because in Diamond and Pearl, it was like, what else is there to do? Oh, he's going to have to go and fight a mythical Pokemon now. And like, it was great when it's like, he beat Darkrai. It's like, oh, by the way, he has other legendary and mythicals, just like as it's like, well, screw this guy. This guy's the worst.
Yeah. I mean, I have trouble imagining Pokemon Journeys doing that again. But I mean, speaking of kind of legendary mythicals, the other part of all this announced was that we're getting, obviously Gary's coming back. If you haven't watched the Pokemon anime since like season 1, Gary and Ash aren't really rivals anymore. Basically, Gary was like, all right, I'm done. I'm going to become a Pokemon professor, like Professor Oak. And so he's been off training. So in his upcoming return to the anime, he's going to be helping Ash and he's going to be helping Go, because basically they're going to be taking part in something called Project Mew. So they're going to be out looking for Mew, which is kind of Go's entire shtick in life, is he wants to meet Mew and stuff. And in the process, they're going to run into 2 completely new characters, 2 trainers who are likely going to become rivals to Ash and Go in this process of finding Mew. So we don't really know anything about the characters. We have seen designs for them, but basically they're going to be fighting Ash and Go at every turn to find Mew and these legendary Pokemon that they're probably searching for, starting in the Crown Tundra. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, so Zenpai in the chat going, more of a super team. Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Like yes, Ash, Gengar, Dragonite, Lucario, Dragonfish, like he's got a super stacked team, but for in the logic of the anime, it is basically Bush League compared to Ash's obviously favorite, the Pokemon that we all know and love as his favorites.
His current team also has some like major competitive weaknesses.
Well, yeah,
it is very unbalanced currently. So I would love to see, in the kind of end game of this, Ash bring out Charizard against Leon's Charizard. I mean, that's kind of the whole shtick. If that's honestly not what happens, I think I'm going to be furious. I mean, we kind of have to see that happen. You don't get to bring back Charizard and not do this. So I'm excited to see how this goes kind of through.
I think at the very least, what would be cool is if we're doing this extended sequence of we're going to be battling legendary Pokemon in the Crown Tundra. I think that it would be cool if Ash brought in some of his older Pokemon to do some of these battles. Like I think that the Moltres and Fernape is a really cool thing, and I hope they do more of that. But we'll see. I mean, this also could all happen in the course of one episode. So
that's true. Yeah,
I
very
mean,
true.
I would agree, but they usually don't do trailers like this for a one-off episode. They'll usually just do a normal episode promo, which
Yeah.
would be significantly shorter. Also, if you've seen the trailer, which you can find on Comicbook.com, we've written about it extensively. The animation quality of it is pretty solid, so it's looking like it's going to be like a solid little arc. So I'm excited.
Nice. All right, with that, Christian, let's get to the Pokemon fact of the week.
Okay, this week we're talking about Dratini, and it's really funny talking, looking at Dratini's original Pokedex entries because legendary Pokemon and mythical Pokemon obviously have always been a part of the Pokemon game. However, those words, legendary and mythical, didn't used to have the same weight as they do now. And as a point, the earliest Pokedex entries for Dratini, constantly referred to, Dratini as a Pokemon thought to be a mythical Pokemon or a near mythical Pokemon because of its rarity. Now, obviously, that is a reference to the fact that you can not find Dratini in the Kanto region until the very end of the game. But it's really funny in the context of what we know now about mythical Pokemon, which mythical Pokemon now are these like godlike Pokemons, and it's like, oh yeah, and here's an eel.
Yes.
So the other thing that
An
really,
adorable eel.
that's not
Dratini is adorable.
I love Dratini. Dratini is what the Dratini line has always been one of my favorite Pokemon. The other thing that cracks me up is Dratini. The name Dratini was a very late change in the Pokemon franchise. Early English promotional things, had it called as I believe it's Dragoon, which is a combination of Dratini and Lagoon. I'm double checking that, but yeah, that is what Dratini was almost named, and it even got to the point where when they were doing marketing for those original Pokemon games, that's what it was known as. So obviously Dratini's a lot better, but yeah, we almost got Dragoon, yes, as its name, which I don't think would have done the whole like cutesy Pokemon. But yeah, so that's Dratini.
Yeah, it's a weird. That also feels. It also kind of feels like a retcon too, because I remember obviously in the early stages, Dragonite to me feels like a pseudo mythical or a pseudo legendary in a way, right?
It's literally that's what it's called. It's a pseudo legendary.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Yeah, but I mean,
the term.
But it should be, right? But that's the thing. Like, just given its, I mean, I get it because now that they've shown a whole bunch of them, that it doesn't feel kind of as special. But I just love Dragonite.
Yeah, Dragonite's a great Pokemon. I appreciate the fact that one of the consistent things that we have gotten in Pokemon is that we have gotten these pseudo legendaries every generation. And they've always been pretty cool. I don't think we've gotten a miss yet. I will even include Gumi and in that. I love Gumi. I think Gumi is a great Pokemon. So good. The middle evolution for Gumi is pretty weird, but Gumi and Goodra, great Pokemon. But yeah, I love the pseudo legendaries. I don't think there's a bad one in the bunch.
I not to jump off this train, but before I miss it, Zenpai dropped a comment and goes, I want Ash to take 5 episodes looking for the footsteps in the tundra. And I would say, if this was if the Pokemon anime was Dragon Ball, you sure as hell are getting 5 episodes of Ash looking for the footsteps in the tundra.
Oh yeah.
But it was good. So I have such fun. One of my favorite Pokemon cards is the Rainbow Dragonite one from Fossil.
Yes.
Is that word? Fossil. Because that was one of the first that I remember pulling from a pack. When so obviously with my how I used to treat Pokemon cards as a kid, let's say, right? I remember for the first the first box of fossil that I ever bought. First pack was the Rainbow Dragonite. So that's why I have incredibly fond memories of that. I just feel like, oh yeah, when I was a kid, I bought a box of Pokemon cards, but like, well, we all know how and why at this point.
Yes, it's because 10-year-old Jim was living the entrepreneurial dream. Like,
that's right. Yeah, I was operating a card shop from my wagon, basically.
Speaking of the original Pokemon cards, I don't remember if I mentioned this in a previous episode or not, but I went and bought myself, I finally corrected something that I could never get as a kid. I went and bought myself a base set Venusaur.
Oh, nice.
It came in the mail last week. Right the day I got my COVID shot.
There you go.
My second COVID shot. It showed up in the mail, and I'm impressed. It was it's obviously not a first edition, but it's in like really good condition. And it's I haven't decided if I'm going to get it graded or not. I probably won't, just because why. But yeah, it's like, finally, I was like trying to explain this to my wife, because my wife's like, you went and bought what? I was like, oh yeah, no, I bought a 20-year-old Pokemon card. And she's like, and how much does this cost? I was like, yeah, don't worry about this. And she's like, why did you do this? I was like, because I found my old Pokemon cards, and then I remembered how much I always wanted a Venusaur. And then I realized I have the money to buy myself a Venusaur. I'm going to buy myself a Venusaur card.
See, like, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent purchase.
So cross that one off my list. I'm probably going to go and buy. I'm going to go. One of my next projects is going to be complete my base set collection of Pokemon cards, and kind of go from there. Because I don't need them super graded or something like that. One of the big we talked about this in a previous episode. One of the big kind of misconceptions I think people have about getting filling out their vintage Pokemon card collections is that it's expensive. It's not the cheapest. I don't think you're going to find a good condition Charizard card for less than like $100 or $150, but
everything else is basic.
Yeah, everything else is pretty reasonable. You can get, as long as you don't mind that they're not graded, which, if you're not trying to spend, if you're not trying to flip these cards for a lot of money, who cares if they're graded or not? You can get all these cards still pretty easily. I was like shocked. I was like, oh, done. I found a card that meets my quality needs, and boom, I have it. So yeah, go if you are like me and were a poor kid who didn't have money to get apparently wasn't fleecing grannies outside of Jersey casinos. Go and get that base set collection.
All right. With that, that's going to do it for us this week. I was very quickly just going to see if we got any new reviews since the last one, and does not look like it. So in that case, here comes the guilt trip. If you have not yet left a review on iTunes, please go do so. It's the best way to help support the show. Then second best way to help support the show is when we go live on Twitch, retweet us, tell your friends about it, and try and get the word out that way. If you're in circles of other Pokemon fans and things like that, we definitely love having all of the new people who have showed up this week. So thank y'all for coming. We hope you come back next week. For all the vets, keep doing what you do. We appreciate it. Otherwise, you can find the show wherever podcasts can be found. iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Pandora, you name it, we're there. Otherwise, if you want to get involved on, just want to chat to us outside of the show, at Pokemon Pod CB is the Twitter handle for the show. Otherwise, you can find me at Jim Viscardi.
You can find me on Twitter at Megan Peters CB.
And I am at Seahoffer Cbus.
It's Pokemon Snap Week, folks. We hope you get it so we can talk all about it next week. We'll catch you later.